Hello students, my name is Robert Connor. I'll be your professor for this course, this summer course, second session, and the course number is B003. It's Federal Government 2305. And I'm going to try to make this course interesting and something that you'll enjoy as well as learn. So, okay, let's get going. Okay, this is where we start. This is the opening page. And what you will do is you will click up here on Contents. Click up here on Contents. And you may see this, it may come up, or you may have to hunt for it, but you look for this, chapters 1 through 15 and exams. Okay, and then you have these inquisitives, how-tos. These are what I call the tutorial inquisitives. This teaches you what the inquisitives are about. The inquisitives are associated with each chapter in the book, and they are an exercise that takes you through questions that you answer, and as you answer them correctly, you get points. And they work very well. And they are a good learning exercise because even though you'll make mistakes and you won't be able to get the answer correct the first time, but eventually you will. You'll see how that works. So the first thing you need to do, however, is you need to get access to the course. And this costs some money. You have to buy the material. Okay, yes, you may have gone to the bookstore and bought the code or bought the soft cover. That's fine, but this is where you enter it. Okay, you click on this inquisitive, how to use inquisitive assignment. You click on that and your screen is not going to look like mine because I'm already registered for the course automatically. And you will be walked through a series of questions where you put in the name of the school and the name of the state that you're located in. And then ultimately you'll get to a point where they'll say, they'll ask you if you have already purchased the code, and you say either yes or no. If you have purchased it, then all you have to do is enter it. But if you haven't purchased it, you purchase it now, or you can try a trial rental, test trial. Well, it's not rental, it's a test trial whereby you have 3 weeks without having to pay for the course, but eventually you will have to pay for it. Okay, the cost is about $50. Okay, and when you have access to the course, you will see this green rectangular area that says connected to LMS. When you get that green area, that means you have succeeded in accessing the course and you're ready to rock and roll. There's nothing more that you need to do in order to enjoy the full course. Okay, so after you have registered for the course, they call it registering, I call it getting access, you go back and you do this inquisitive assignment, how to use inquisitive. And you'll be surprised because the way they do it, the first question they ask you and what they tell you to do is going to come up that you made an error. Okay, well, they do that deliberately because they want to show you what an error looks like when you are working the course. Okay, the second thing is how to evaluate sources assignment. In other words, there's a lot of source material out there on the internet or on TV or in publications, and you have to learn how to sift through it and tell the truth from the lies. And this helps you do that. The third one is quantitative literacy. what that translates into is they teach you how to read graphs and charts. Okay, so you do those 3 exercises. That's your first assignment in the course, is to first of all get access to the course. Then you do these 3 tutorial and quizzes, and then you're ready to do the course. Those are the first things that you do, and you do get credit. You get points for doing each one of these tutorials. Your grade will go up as you do these. Okay. All right. After you finish doing those, then you're ready to actually work through the course. And here is the course right here. Okay. The chapter 1 is Americans and their political values. Okay. Now you have PowerPoints. You can look at the PowerPoints. See if we can load one here. They are a little slow in loading sometimes. The first time that you load something, this is the first time that I've loaded this because I've just now set up the course. And so this is the first time it's loaded. So yours won't load so slowly. Okay, so there you have it. Now this is what your textbook looks like, but you don't have to buy the soft cover. You have the ebook, which I'll show you in a moment. And so you can go through the PowerPoints and learn a lot of stuff looking at them and reading the information. Okay, so that's your PowerPoints. Okay, then the next thing is you have an outline. They have made an outline for you of each chapter. You don't have to outline the chapter yourself. They have done it for you. And here again, yours won't open so slowly because this is the first time I've opened these. And so it's the first time that, okay. And so here is an outline of the chapter. They go through and give you the notes for the whole chapter. Okay. And you read through that, and you are well versed on chapter 1. Okay. Okay, the next thing, you have flashcards whereby you put in a definition. In this case, the definition of government, you write in, and then you do the flip card, and they give you sort of a standard definition. So that's just a little flip card. These are not required that you have to do these. You don't have to do the PowerPoints or the outline or the flashcards. There's no grade associated with them. Okay, so you do them if you want to, or you don't do them if you don't want to. Okay, but this is what you have to do. This is your ebook. Okay, and this is the textbook online, and you go through it, and as you get to a point in each one, when you get to a point, you have some multiple choice answers to a question that they ask you. And so you choose what you think is the correct answer, and then you click on it. And if you're right, fine. If you're not, do it again, because you can keep doing it until you get it right, and you get full credit for it, even though you have to maybe do it 2 or 3 times before you get it right. You're still going to get credit. And here again, when you do this, your grade will go up. You get points, you get grades for this. Okay, and you do that for each chapter in the book. Okay, now there's some other things here. Okay, oh, and then the chapter 1 inquisitive. This is required also. And this is where you use what you learn in those tutorial inquisitives, how to do them. And so you go in on there and here I can try this activity as a student. So I'm pretending to be a student here. And I say, start answering questions. And I can start with the normal questions or with the featured questions. Let's start with the normal. And so you have different questions. How has the power of the federal government developed over time? Okay, and so this is a multiple choice. The power of the federal government has decreased. The power of the federal government has increased. The power of the federal government has remained the same. Well, okay, so you choose one of these. And the correct one, of course, is the power of the federal government has increased. But let's just choose the wrong one. But before we make any choice, we go over here to this little thing where you can decide how much you want to bet that you can get this one right. So this is kind of like if you ever watch the TV show Jeopardy, it's like the Daily Double. You decide how much you want to bet, and if you're right, bingo, you get a lot of points. If you're wrong, you lose points. Okay, so you can choose. It starts off medium in the middle, but if you say, hey, I know the answer to that, then you go, wow, you go all the way over, I know it. And so when you answer this question, you're going to get the maximum number of points. Okay. And so this is the correct answer here. The federal government the power of the federal government has increased over the years. So that's the correct answer. And nice job. And you go to the next question. They tell you why that answer is the correct answer. Then you go to the next question. Okay, then you say, which factors influence whether an individual is likely to participate in politics? Okay, belief that the government cares about citizens' opinions, higher levels of education, lack of political efficacy. Now, political efficacy is just a term that means, do you think that the government is actually listening to you and that your elected officials are listening to you? If you think they are, then you feel like that there's a high degree of efficacy. If you think that the government doesn't care about you, that they're not listening to you, then that would be a low degree of efficacy. Okay? Then knowledge about the issues, readily available internet access. Okay? Which factors? So it's more than one. Okay, so more likely to participate. Okay, what about this one? That the government cares about citizens' opinion. You think that that causes people to be more likely to participate in politics or less likely? Okay, I think it causes them to be more likely to participate in politics if they believe that government cares about citizens' opinions. Okay, also higher levels of education. If you're well educated, you're more likely to participate in politics, in elections, because you believe that elections are important. So this one goes. Okay. Now, lack of political efficacy. In other words, if you don't think that the government cares about you, then that's going to mean that you're going to be less likely to participate, which really is not the way it should be. If you think that the government's not listening to you, not doing a good job, then maybe you should be more likely to participate in politics and in elections because you want to change things. But in this case, the answer is that it normally makes people less likely to participate in politics if they don't believe that the government really cares about them or is really listening to them. Okay, what about knowledge about the issues? Would that make people more likely or less likely to participate? Well, I think probably more likely. Okay, so that's the answer there. Finally, what about readily available internet access? Well, I don't know about that one, because sometimes if you have readily available internet, then you don't pay attention to other things like news on TV or news in the newspaper, or talking about politics with your friends or what have you. Maybe you go on the internet and you just get lost in your internet world. So I'm not sure what the answer to that one is. Readily available internet access. I don't know what the answer to that is. So let's say less likely to participate and see if that's the one. Okay, that's not right. Okay, what they're saying, they say try again. Okay, they're saying that internet access makes you more likely to participate in politics because you can access websites that have news and social media and so forth. So basically, you saw what happens if you get an answer wrong, and your score goes down. Okay, your score goes down because you missed the question. Okay, so at any rate, that's the way you work through the quizzes, and each chapter works the same way on these things on the ebook questions and the quizzes. Every chapter works the same way as I showed you here. Now, on your inquisitives, you have to answer 20 questions, except on the first one. The first one, well, no, wait a minute. Back to how to use inquisitives. That one you answer fewer questions, but on every other inquisitive, you have to answer 20 questions, and the goal is to get 1,500 points, and then you have 100. You have a perfect score on the inquisitive. You have perfect score. Now, that's great if you can do that, answering 20 questions, but it may be that you missed some questions, like I just did in doing that one. And so you may have to answer, and probably will have to answer, more questions in order to get a perfect score. That's okay. There's no limit to how many questions you can answer. Sometimes a student will get to a kind of a difficult topic, and they may have to answer 100, 150 questions or what have you in order to get their score perfect. Well, just keep answering questions. There's no limit. There's no time limit or anything. Just keep answering the questions until you get enough of them right that you get a perfect score. Now, if you're having trouble on it, don't get frustrated, because what will happen if you are really having a hard time getting through a inquisitive, the computer will kick in and they say, hey, you're having a little trouble here. If you answer the next 2 questions correctly, you're going to get a bonus of 100 points or something like that. So they help you out. So you cannot fail on these inquisitives. You just keep answering questions till you get enough of them right that you got a perfect score. So you make 100 on every inquisitive because you just answer however many questions it takes in order to get a perfect score. Okay, now these other exercises here are there. I'll leave them up there in case you're interested, but these are not required. You do not have to do these. If you want to do them, you can. It might show a grade when you do it, but it doesn't count. It does not count on your grade one way or another. So you do not have to do these. There's nothing wrong with them. I just don't want to overload my students and requiring you to answer too many questions or do too much. I don't want to overburden you. And so I say, okay, you don't have to do these, but if you're interested in them, do them. I urge you to do them. Okay, so that's how the basic course works. Okay. Oh, going back to that. Oh, going back to that. When you get down to the end, okay, the course is divided into 4 parts. The first part is the first 5 chapters. And then when you get through the first 5 chapters, you have an exam. So you're getting points on doing the inquisitives and the ebook. You're getting points. You're building up your grade in working those. But then when you get to the end of that part, you have an exam. And you have a review video. And the review video, Lone Star College has acquired the services of a incredibly young and handsome man with obvious movie star qualities to actually give you a video presentation review. And there it is. And so you click on that and you get a review. And then after you do the review, you can watch the review as many times as you want. And then you do the exam. The exam is 50 questions, true and false or multiple choice or fill in the blank or something like that. There's no essay questions. Okay. All right. So you do those, and you actually on these you get 2 attempts on these. I think you get 2 attempts on these. Yeah, 2 attempts are allowed. So you can take the exam twice, and whichever score is higher, that's the one you get. The other one just goes away. All right. So you can take the exam twice. And whichever score is higher, that's the one that you wind up getting. Okay. Now all of the parts work this way except part 4, which I'm going to get to now. So part 1, 2, and 3 all work the same way, just like that. Now your inquisitives, you can take those at any time. You can go back even if you miss some. If you miss one during the course, you can go back and do it. That's fine. Hopefully you will do your work and keep up with your work and not get behind. But if you do get behind, you can always go back and do the inquisitives. And remember, the inquisitives, the goal is to answer enough questions that you make 100 on the 100% on the inquisitive. Okay. Okay, now when you get down to part 4, it's a bit different. Part 4, there's only 2 chapters in part 4, domestic policy and foreign policy. And you have your final exams, and these, your exams, by the way, you can only do them on the day and the times provided. So part 4, on August 14th, that's when you'll do your final exams, and you do them. You have all day to do them. They start at 8 o'clock in the morning and go to 9 p.m. at night. So you got all day. You can do them anytime you want during the day. You have 3 exams. You have an exam on part 4. You have 2 assessments. And those are general questions on the course. And you have to do all 3 of those. You have to get those done. Okay. So that's how that scheme works out. Okay, now over here, you have a requirement for a research paper, alternate project, or op-ed. Now, a research paper is your typical research paper, and I have an example. Here you can, okay, here's an example of a research paper. You use the APA format that's for your paper. Okay, and you can do it on any federal topic. You can do it on a Supreme Court case. You can do it on a federal official, either a current one like, say, Donald Trump or Joe Biden or whoever, or you can do a historical figure like Stephen F. Austin or Sam Houston. Okay, so you do your typical research paper. Okay, and you start off with a title page, an abstract. You do your paper. You can divide it into sections if you want. And then you have 5 references. That's it. So your research paper in total only has to be 5 pages. So basically, the research or the cover page and the abstract and the references all count as a page. So your paper itself only has to be 3 pages. So it's easy. That's why there's no excuse for not doing one of these things, either the research paper, an alternate project, or an op-ed. Now, alternate project can be something you go someplace. Like in my Texas class, the first part of this summer sessions, I had 3 students go out to the San Jacinto Monument and take pictures and write something about their experience. I also had students go to the Juneteenth parade, and they took pictures and wrote something about it. So that would be an alternate project. Also, an alternate project would be like visiting a museum or visiting a government office. And in that case, it really doesn't have to be a federal official. You can go and visit your state representatives or state senator's office, or even your city councilman's office. You can, just something government-wise. Okay, so that would be your typical research paper if you want to do that. Or you can do some alternate project. Also, or you can do what I call an op-ed. Op-ed stands for opinion editorial. That means you just sound off about something, like you have a favorite topic: abortion, climate change, immigration, minimum wage, cost of education, anything like that. And you just sound off. There's no format for it. There's no required number of pages. I would say 1 page would be fine. And just sound off. Like you're just making a speech on the street corner. Just sound off. Okay? And that you don't have to do all 3 of these things. You only have to do 1 of the 3. Okay? Finally, you got an opportunity to get 2 extra points, and you get that simply by writing a letter to me. Tell me something about yourself, because I'm interested in what students your age are doing nowadays. So you write me a letter, and it's completely confidential. You can write me about your career path, about your hobbies, about what scares you, what makes you inspired, what makes you mad, what makes you sad. You can write anything that you want. And I will answer you. I will answer you. And, you get 2 points automatically. So the paper's not graded. It's just automatic. You submit a paper. It's optional. You don't have to do this. It's optional. But if you want to, you just submit a paper and bang, you get 2 points added to your grade. And but like I said, it's optional. You don't have to do it. Okay. Okay, and so that's pretty much the whole course. And okay, look at your. You need to look at your syllabus. You need to look at the syllabus because that tells you all about the course. So you need to look at that, and you can do that, immediately. You can also write your research paper or do your alternate project or your op-ed. You can do that immediately. The portal is open all the time. It's open right now. You can go, you can do one of those requirements right now. You don't have to wait till the last minute. Like you often will. People often will wait till the last minute. Okay, so here's your syllabus, and you look through this and you tell the whole story of the course and how your grades are figured, and my particular input, my particular rules. Oh, there they are. Okay, and you can work together on your coursework, on your inquisitives or your ebook. You can work together on those, even your research paper and everything. But on your exams, when you take one of the exams, you do that all by yourself. You don't get your big brother or big sister that you think's smarter than you are to do it for you. So, so just on your exams, you do those on your own. You don't get help. Okay. And then finally, some words to the wise. There you go. Some words to the wise. This is my commandments. Don't do stupid things. Keep your eyes on the prize. The tassel is worth the hassle. Remember that everyone is entitled to his or her own opinion, but no one's entitled to his or her own facts. So stick to the facts. When you hear somebody, politicians, say something and it doesn't sound quite right, do a little research. Go to a website that fact checks these whatever's said, because people lie all the time. Okay, so don't be fooled. Check it out. Get involved. Speak for yourself. And the future belongs to those who prepare for it. Okay, so there's your syllabus. Okay, let's see, one more thing. Let's see. It's always difficult to get out of something without getting kicked out of the program altogether. Okay, I think we've achieved that. Okay, another thing to pay a lot of attention to is your calendars. You have a calendar. You have calendars. The course right here, and for July, this calendar shows you every day what is happening and what you should be doing every day. And it also tells you when your exams are. And then you have August, and it tells you when your final exams are. And you have kind of the last day or so free to catch up on your work. and you have a complete calendar for the year 2025. Shows all the holidays and so forth. Okay, there's also videos of the day, and these are very interesting. And okay, they don't open up. I've got it on view it as a student. Let me change that. Let me change that so that I can open these up, because these don't open up to you until the day comes. So they open on the day as it comes. And then you have information and entertainment. You have some songs like Good Morning from a musical, Singing in the Rain. Okay. You have this federal government introduction and orientation. Then you have something called the overwhelming importance of the quality of the dash. And I urge you to read that and reread it and think about it. Also, Scout Vespers, Swinging on a Star, America the Beautiful, Chuck Berry, Time to Say Goodbye, sung by Jackie Avancho. So interesting things, and also things telling you what's going on in the world. Okay, so pay attention to those also, because you'll get some jokes, you'll get some music, you'll get some reminders about your coursework. So watch the videos of the day. Okay, so I think I pretty well covered it, but don't hesitate to email me with any questions. And here again, check your email frequently, many times a day, because I send out a lot of emails, and I think they're all important, and maybe you will too. Okay, so thank you very much for watching, and good luck to you in everything that you ever attempt in life, including this course.